We're mixing a record right now, and Adam was going through it the other day and going through my stuff, and he texted me a screenshot. He's like, what the are you doing? This is crazy. But it sounds good to me, so I'm using it. My name is Sam Nelson Harris. I am the lead singer of X Ambassadors. I'm here today with Guitarcenter at Gold Digger Sound in Los Angeles, California. We are checking out this Gen 2 Apollo X4 from Universal Audio. At home, I have an X8P, which is something I use on a daily basis. And I also have an Apollo Twin, which I think is the same one that I got right around the tail end of when we were working on our first record, VHS, which we are currently in the 10-year anniversary of that record. I've traveled all over the world with that thing. It's so reliable. Today, we'll just be focusing on getting a good vocal tone. When I'm recording and when I'm singing and performing, I want to try and get it to a point where as I am cutting it, it sounds finished. That's like the ultimate goal. That's just kind of how I've always worked, always operated as a producer and as an engineer. I want to be hearing how the finished product sounds as I'm kind of making it. So next to me here is this beautiful Neumann U87, which is now my mic of choice. For my voice and for what I'm doing in the studio, it's great. I use it on guitars, I use it on amps, I use it on drums, I use it on everything. So it's a very versatile mic. So we're starting there. And then we're going straight into the Apollo, and we're gonna get a little gain structure going on. So we're gonna use this new thing, which I just was introduced to, called auto gain, right below Unison, right below the gain structure. First, you gotta put a little phantom power on for this guy. There's a thing that says auto gain. Click auto gain, press start, and sing. I'm gonna sing as loud as I'm gonna sing in this demo. And we'll see where we've landed. Okay, we're about a little more than 12 o'clock. Got a pad on it. Looks good. Feeling good. Now we're ready to rock. Let's throw a little Unison on there. Let's throw a pre on there. I'm going to use the 1073, which is just kind of my go-to. I'm going to use the auto gain again after I've set this up. This is great because sometimes when I throw the pre up, I'm like, it takes me a minute to be like, do I want something a little crunchier? Do I want to try to push the pre? Do I want it pretty clean? Do I just want it to feel warm and subtle? So here we go. We're going to just try the auto gain on it first. Okay. Look at that. Beautiful. I'm going to bring up my favorite compressor in the whole world, the LA-2A. I'm so bad. I'm such a bad boy. I crank this thing up. I crank it to like 70 on the gain, and then I'll do like a 75 peak reduction. Just when I'm recording and monitoring, I want it to be very compressed. And I'm just monitoring through console. Every once in a while, I'll choose the record mode here and record and print what I'm doing, but it's already printing the color of the Unison plugin, which is great. That's kind of all I need. And then everything else, I'm pulling up a bunch of different stuff in Logic. Okay, so we got the compressor. I'm going to pull up the EQP-1A. Oh, look at her. She's gorgeous. Okay. I'm going to cut a little bit of low frequency, about that much. Sometimes if I have too much low frequency in my ears, I'm not able to get my pitch correct. Okay, we're going to boost some highs. We're boosting around, actually, I'm going to bring it back down to 10. I'm boosting 10K at like 3 dB. And that is pretty much it. Let's see how this thing sounds. Okay, yeah, this sounds great. This sounds like it's at a pretty good. I could even, honestly, I'm gonna crank this. I'm gonna maybe not crank the gain as much, but I'm gonna crank the peak reduction more. And this is nice because, like, if I'm singing down here, it's cool because it sounds really great and I can hear everything. And then when I go here, it's like, it's not piercingly loud, you know? So that's what we got going on there. Sometimes it depends on how I'm feeling in the day. I'll throw a little EMT 140. I usually have this on a bus, actually. Let's do this. Let's put it on a bus over here. And then we're gonna send it to that aux just a tiny bit. Make it all. There we go. Lush, I love this reverb. I wanna just get a little weird and experiment with some stuff right now. The vocal tone that I have going on right now, this is very clean. This sounds great. If I'm doing anything, this will work. But again, like sometimes I want to be able to hear what it's going to sound like in the mix and like a bit closer to the finished thing. So I'm going to take the verb off, mute my aux 1, and I'm going to bring up this plugin, the EP-34. This delay is so cool. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring the repeats down. The time, I'm going to make it as short as possible. So it's basically a slap delay. And I'm going to crank this one all the way up so that it's distorting. And I'm going to turn the volume down a little bit. So I'm actually bring the volume down a little bit more. So there's more tucked so that I can still really feel like it's felt a bit more than heard. Okay. So we've got this kind of weirdo sound. At any point, I can save this real quick as Dirty Boy. Okay, this is going to be my Dirty Boy setting. Okay, so now we got this setting. Now I'm saving this one as my Clean Boy. So we got Dirty Boy, we got Clean Boy. Now let's put this in Logic. Okay, we're monitoring. We're not recording. Let's see how everything is sounding right now. So we've got our gain. Everything's sounding good. I can hear myself. We're in Logic. I'm going to throw this through a bus. I'm actually going to pull this up. This is my no UAD vocal bus too. It is using a lot of the UAD Spark plugins, which have changed my life. This is like such a game changer for producers like me who are always on the road. I want to work on something on a plane or in my bunk on the bus at night, or just backstage, and I'm not in a corner of my green room that has like 4 different outlets, you know? This makes it so that I don't have to use my twin, or if I'm traveling with the X4, I don't have to use the X4. The Spark plugins are native. You don't have to have an interface for them to work. My chains are song dependent and I'm tweaking them. So like, I've been messing around with this new one that I have labeled Pop Vocal Bus. I totally copied this off of another producer friend of mine. I was like, this chain sounds sick. And he's like, I'm going to send you screenshots of everything. This chain, it's very polished. It's very like in your face, very close. And sometimes that works. And sometimes I want something that's a little looser that feels a little less polished. Maybe the vocal, I want to almost feel more textural and not be like, I need you to hear every single word I'm saying. Yeah, so it's really song dependent, kind of vibe dependent. So we're going to cut this little thing into here and we're going to play it back. Okay, so we did that. Looks like the level's pretty good. We're not flipping. We're not going too crazy. And let's hear what it sounds like. Yeah, so pretty down the line. Let's see if there is another one that we can mess around with. this chain that I have right now, it's not doing as much as the other one to mitigate. Like with my vocal tone, I got a lot of stuff going on in kind of that like 3 to 4K range. It can be like pretty harsh. And I think we're doing a little bit of a drop here. There's a lot of mid-range stuff going on that can be a little harsh, but sometimes it can work. And sometimes it makes it feel a little more in the room, a little more real. And then you pay a fantastic mixing engineer to actually fix it later, you know? Okay, let's pull up the UAD vocal bus. I'm gonna take off this pre, because I've already got a pre going Unison right now, so I don't need this, the 610. I'm actually just gonna get rid of it. And let's see what this sounds like. This has got my EMT 140, which I just like this. It's just the most organic feeling reverb. This is a real gentle chain. This is like very kind of like unvarnished to me in a great way. The EMT 140, what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna show. So right now the width is at 100, which is nice. I mean, that's very stereo, and you're gonna like, that thing's gonna float all over the place. But what I've been loving to do recently is bring it all the way down to 0 and have it be right there in the center with the vocal. And I bring the amount down a bit more. Let's see what happens if we crank the wet dry up a little bit more. It just feels like a classic vocal. I mean, like the reverbs back in the 60s and 70s weren't stereo. It was all straight down the middle, and it just feels nice. I want to actually try something with this chain. Let's go into console, and let's go to Dirty Boy. I want to cut this again. Same chain, same EMT 140. We're going to make this, we're going to see what happens here. Okay. Looks like it's pretty quiet. Yeah, it's definitely like clipping in that top range, but there's something kind of cool about it. All right, we got this dirty, dirty dog going right now, but it's maybe a little too dirty. The clipping is like a little too harsh. I'm gonna take a little bit of the highs off here in my EQ. The EP34 is going on. I'm gonna bring this echo volume down to here, repeats down to like none, short, 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 crank that recording volume, and let's see what that does. That's cool. It's grimy. I love to break the rules when it comes to clipping and gain structure, and it's just, I've never known what the rules were, really. So I don't have that constraint of having to follow them. I know what's going to sound good. For me, also in terms of just style, I like things that sound imperfect, and I like it to have life to it. In a nutshell, that's pretty much how I use the Apollo and the Universal Audio software with my vocals and recording vocals and my chain and my setup. What's really cool about this X4 is that it's small enough that I can travel with we have been doing a lot more live recording stuff that we film backstage or in weird locations. And then you've got 4 people in the band. You've got you got vocal, you've got keys, and then you've got usually like a drum machine, or if Adam is playing like a physical drum, you can put another mic on it, and then you got guitar. So this has 4 inputs as opposed to 2 with my twin, which I've been traveling with, and usually it's not enough. This gives us a little bit more flexibility on the road in situations like that. And if I'm ever in the situation where I am producing on the go and not in my own studio, and I want to record a couple things at once, I want to mic up an amp, stereo, and I want to record a room tone, and I want to get a direct line for a guitar, I have all that flexibility right here. So that's really cool. And then this auto gain thing, I am really, really, really interested in. It's been so cool to mess around with. Another thing that I haven't even scratched the surface on is this real-time monitor correction function, which I think is in my own studio going to help me a lot. My room is very particular. It's not treated at all intentionally so. Wooden ceilings. I just loved how it sounded when I put all of my stuff in it, that I was kind of like, I don't want to touch this. But if I crank my speakers up too loud, it gets a little harsh. So I want to maybe try to find a way where I can do that without it destroying people's ears. So that'll be really useful when I get back to my studio and I can play around with that. So if you want to learn more about the Apollo X4 or any of the Universal Audio Gen 2 devices, you can go to guitarcenter.com. You can call one of their expert gear advisors and they can help you out with that. Or you can pop in to your local GC. Yes,